Thanks for checking out this video. This is the 1998 installment of the 1990s horror movie Superlative series I'm doing with your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. Again, watch through this whole video, hear my picks and my justifications for my picks for 1998, then go to your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete's channel, which is linked in my description, watch his video of the same name, then come back to my channel, go to the community tab, and vote on who you think had the better picks, or whose picks line up with yours best, or whatever. Whoever had the best justification, whatever you want to do. It's just for fun for the most part. Now, do us also a favor, hit subscribe to both of our channels if you haven't already. We are both putting out excellent content. I am putting out a lot of movie reviews and analysis, and he is putting out a very awesome series he does called Nails in the Coffin, where he literally goes over kills in films and analyzes them, breaks them down, and talks about, what someone could have done in that situation to better survive, and to what level they, were really fighting for themselves or not. It's a lot of fun. It's great. So help us out. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. But anyway, let me go ahead and start getting into my picks for 1998. So the most amazing film, I don't own it, and it's been a while since I had last seen it, but it is still a phenomenal film, and I don't know if a lot of people have seen this. It was a bigger budget film. It's the film Fallen. Now, this one has a amazing cast. Denzel Washington, John Goodman, Donald Sutherland, Elias Koteas is in it, James Gandolfini. I mean, the cast alone, if you just know those names, you'd be like, I gotta check it out. Don't even know what the film is about, gotta check it out. So basically, it's about a detective who witnesses a serial killer die. I think he killed in the executed in the gas chamber. And then all of a sudden, while he's walking around, he hears people saying to him something that this serial killer said when they were being put to death. And so he starts to get suspicious. Then people start showing up dead with the same MO of this serial killer. So he's like, what is going on here? In the end, it's really about demonic possession to a degree, and the fact that this demonic possession keeps moving. So Denzel Washington's character is going out trying to basically battle this demon who is jumping bodies. And it is very scary in the sense of you never know who's going to be possessed and when. And you get the feeling of urgency because of the body jumping ability. That it's tense. It keeps the film so intense. Now, obviously, the acting is phenomenal because of the cast, and it's just a really well-done premise. And this is a style of horror film I'm usually not drawn to. I don't like demons and demonic possession and stuff like that typically, but this is executed so well, and it's such an interesting concept that I'm into it. Plus, I'm not going to ruin it, but the ending. Man, the ending. If you know, then you know. So my pick for most amazing, 1998, is Fallen. Now we got to go to the best so bad it's good category, and this is going to be disturbing behavior. I had never seen Disturbing Behavior. I watched it for this series, and it's fun. It's actually fun. It's not a good film by any stretch of the imagination. It has Katie Holmes being the big name in it. It's basically about a bunch of high school students. Their parents want them to be better kids. So they get enrolled in this program where they're literally implanting chips in the brains of the kids, but they start short-circuiting, and then these kids start killing. But the premise seems stupid. It is a stupid premise. It's not well written. It's not a good film. It's not well executed at all. There's some really stupid looking CGI that they use, because CGI in the 90s was terrible. And it's just, the acting isn't the greatest either. It's very over the top, but it's very entertaining with how bad it is. It's a ridiculous premise to the point that it becomes fun. And the way in which the film is bad with the bad acting and everything, and how a lot of choices they make in it, you're just kind of like, okay, it's just fun. This is truly a so bad it's good film, and I really, really enjoyed seeing it for the first time. And it's one I'm going to watch again. There's also a character who's living in the boiler room at the school and is really hyper-focused on catching rats. His character is so weird and eccentric. Like, he's my favorite part of the film. But it is definitely a film worth seeing, and that's why Disturbing Behavior is my pick for the best So Bad It's Good for 98. Now going to the most WTF. People who have seen this film, this should not be a surprise to you that I'm picking it as this. It is going to be Phantasm 4 Oblivion. Now, the reason I'm making this WTF is because it is a hard to follow entry in Phantasm. People who have watched through the entire Phantasm franchise know that, yes, things get confusing throughout the franchise, but it's never as confusing as it is in Oblivion. There are time jumps, there are teleportations, it is hard to follow what's going on. You find yourself just being like, WTF, what is happening right now? Because I'm having a hard time following this. In addition, they throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink. It is a insane amount of orbs. It is a ridiculous amount of the shrunken down bodies that serve the tall man. It is the newer, which I think were introduced in Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead, the like zombified people, which is so random. And then you just have a lot of like left field things happening, like being out in the desert. And it's just like, it's all over the place. You truly never know where things are going. It's very WTF, and the story gets very, very convoluted, very hard to follow. And that is why I've chosen Phantasm 4 Oblivion for my most WTF for 1998. I love all the Phantasm films, but like I have to admit, this is very WTF. But still has a place in my heart. I love the franchise. I just really do. Okay, so now going on to the best gore category. This is a film that I could also see people putting as the best So Bad It's Good for this year, and that's John Carpenter's Vampires. This is not a good film. It more than anything, it's like a vampire action film, and that's where the good gore comes from, is the action sequences. They go so hard at brutality with this band of vampire hunters. I mean, it's literally just about a band of vampire hunters that are headed by a character played by James Woods, who is the best part of this film, by the way. James Woods' performance in this is phenomenal. He's so much fun to watch on screen. But he's just like this badass vampire killer with a group of other vampire killers, and they are just all about going after vampires, the brutality. There's like overkill in the killing. So much shooting, so much stabbing, so much blood. The gore is flying everywhere. There's a cool scene where they take a stake and like stake a vampire right in the forehead, and they don't flinch from it. Like you see it happening, and then the vampire even pulls it back out, and you have this bloody hole there. The other thing that's my favorite in this is the fact that they shoot them with arrows that are tied to rope, like the steel cable that's on a winch on this truck that they bring in, or I think it's a Jeep. And then they pull them out into the sunlight, and the way in which they burst into flames is violent. It's like, I know that's not technically gore, but it looks so good, and it feels so brutal and violent that it just kind of rolls in with all that other awesome gore in it. It's a fun film, but it definitely, for what I saw for 1998, this was the best gore pick, for sure. So John Carpenter's Vampires, best gore. Now going to the most unique. And this is a film that I had seen the remake of, but had never seen the original until very recently, and that is Ringu, which is the original Ring film from Japan. Now this one set off a lot of popularity. Like I talked about last year with the film Cure, that kind of started the trend of newer horror films in Asia. Well, Ring, or Ringu, is when the West started really taking note of this. And obviously you then had the remake, The Ring, with Naomi Watts in it, which is really good. And I will say, I do think it's a more scary film than the original from South Korea, or from Japan, but it's still, the original is very good. And obviously it's ridiculously unique. It is literally about people who watch a video that is a very weird video, then they get a phone call after watching the video, and then it's days later, I think it's like 5 to 7 days later, they die. And the main character in it ends up watching this tape, and so it becomes this race race against time to figure out what's going on, figure out how it can be broken before this individual dies. So the intensity is there. The, need to get this mystery solved real quick is there, and that's one of the most engaging things about it. But the concept is so interesting, and where they take the film, especially with the twist aspect at the very end of the film, really good. It does have its really good creepy elements. Like I said, though, I think the remake in the United States, which I think was directed by Gore Verbinski, was better because it was way more scary because it had a much bigger budget. Like if you watch The Ring and then you watch Ringu, you can see that Ringu had a way lower budget than The Ring, and but it's still a very good film. It is the source material for The Ring, and it's extremely unique. So that's why Ringu is my pick for most unique for 98. Now going to the most overrated. I'm going to say this is a film I still enjoy, okay? I own it on VHS still, but I also think that because of how popular it is overrated, and that is the film Blade. I know, Uncle Pete, you're probably not going to like this because you love Stephen Dorff in this film. I remember you telling me that, and I get that. Wesley Snipes is a lot of fun in this. Stephen Dorff's a lot of fun in this. Chris Christopherson's a lot of fun in this. I get it. It is a good film. It is fun, but it is so enjoyed. It's the only pick I could make as the most overrated. Other films that I don't like from 1998 aren't like highly talked about or highly respected like Blade is. Yes, Blade is a decent enough movie, but when you watch it, like, it's not a great film, to be honest. It's literally about a vampire hunter, and it's just really about the hunting. There is a story to it, but the story's not that great or compelling. It's just more about the action sequences, and there's just, it's not a great story in my opinion. I do think that the second one is better in a way. That one was done by Guillermo del Toro. I think the creepiness is upped, and the design of the vampires is even cooler. But, yeah, Blade is my pick for most overrated. You can let me know your opinions on all these in the comments, whether you disagree or whatever. So, Blade for 1998, most overrated. Now the one I'm most excited to talk about. I will be surprised if anyone's even heard of this film. I adore this film. At some point, I will do a review on it. I don't know how many people will watch it because it's... I think it might still be hard to get. I bought this, oh my gosh, close to 20 years ago, maybe? Wait, when did it even come out? I'm not sure it was even out. Oh, yeah, well, 1998, duh. I think I bought it close to 20 years ago. It was very hard to find at that time, and it is a film I'm very glad I was able to add to my collection, but it is the South Korean film Biozombie. If you've even heard of this, kudos to you for hearing about it. If you've seen it, more kudos to you, and isn't this an amazing film? This is one I would like to have Shudder get, and everyone be able to see it, because it is so much fun. It is a low-budget film. You can definitely tell that from it. It does have intentionally a lot of comedy to it, which I think really keeps you engaged with the film. But in the end, it also has a lot of heart to it. There's a lot of emotion that ends up getting baked into it that you don't necessarily expect based off the goofy, over-the-top comedic characters in the film. So you get sucked in by the comedy of it and the zombie aspect of it, because it's called Biozombie. But you then get the feels at the end, and it's just so cool. They even do this sequence in the film where they kind of do a play off of horror video games, which was really cool, and I'd never seen that before done in a film before this film, and it was really awesome. There's also a very inspiring, amazing shot at one point in the film where two individuals are being talked to by the police, and they're facing opposite sides, and it looks like it's a split screen, but then they pan the camera back, and it was actually the corner of a structure, of an architectural structure. There was no split screen there. It blew my mind when I saw it. It was an amazing piece of cinema, and this film is so much fun. Unfortunately, the original audio is so terrible that I have to watch it dubbed. But to be honest, the dubbed version is even funnier because it makes the comedy even more ridiculous and over the top, because the voices don't really match the characters. But it is a amazingly fun, ridiculous, over the top, but emotional film. I love this film, and I think if people can find it anywhere to purchase it, you won't regret owning it, or just to stream it. Biozombie is the way to go. This is by far the biggest underrated film for 1998, and it may be a really good contender for the most underrated for the entire decade, to be honest. I love this film. Biozombie, most underrated for 98. So, those are my picks. Would love to hear your picks. Would love to hear your thoughts on my picks and Uncle Pete's picks. Go ahead and put comments there. Put comments on his video as well. We love to read them. Excuse me. We love to get ideas of films we haven't seen yet from you guys that you highly recommend from these years. That's a lot of fun. So, like I said, subscribe to our channels, hit the notification bell buttons, all that stuff. Thanks for participating in this stuff, and until next time, keep it brutal.